Uppy, uppy, uppy. It's one funny morning. I'm Dina Blizzard, and it's too early in the morning. This is the dumbest show in the whole world.
From Monday
to Friday.
Sometimes on Saturdays.
Why would you say that in front of all these people?
Dean stinks.
You never know what's gonna happen.
That's your Dateline voice?
I don't know.
It wasn't good.
It wasn't.
It's not a chicken leg. This is a chicken leg.
Look at that manhole cover on my face.
Not a bad rendition of me. Hold on.
We know your brother. We'll give you a ride to school or whatever.
That's called
our small
murder
town.
in New Jersey.
He was a lot
Like what is?
with his everything.
Oh,
What's outside your Puerta de Clima?
that's Stellan! Yeah!
Good morning, everyone. It's Kyle from California. I had an uppy last year about the same time. I thought I'd check in and let you know how the snoring is going, because we no longer have the drinking of the dogs, and I've heard Jason snoring. Dina, it's only gotten worse. Look at this. This has been going on for the last 20 minutes. Just so you know. Everyone knows. Girls, we know. Just listen to this nonsense. Hey, you always want to say uppy to Dina. Tell her, uppy. What was that? Oh. What? Take it away, Dina.
I can't stop laughing. I laughed through the whole thing. I love that he was like full talking. And the person is not waking up. How do you sleep? You can't sleep in the same room. Do people live like that? Oh my gosh. And there was like, he wasn't going to wake up. Wow. I was expecting it to be a dog. Listen, at first, when he first started, I was like, did he just fart? Is that how it started? But then it just kept happening. And I was like, oh, that's not. Oh, that's, you live there. Okay. Michelle's like, this is my life. I can't even imagine. Wow. That is really funny. That was hilarious. No, that was a person. Kim. Someone needs a CPAP. You are not wrong. That is why my husband and I are sleep divorced. Wow. Was Kyle in my apartment? That is my fiance if he doesn't have his CPAP on. What? That was my ex. He slept in the basement. What? Yeah, that could be a contender for morning show open. I was on the edge of my seat. I know. I thought it was a dog too. I was like, that's what Lulu sounds like. She's like, why you say that? Wow. I have my own room because my husband snores like that. Pauline, that is so crazy. Like, how would you even possibly sleep? My snore has a CPAP, but I still want my own room. I don't even sleep on the same floor as my husband. I can still hear it. What? I mean, he was like down the hallway when he started that video and you could still hear it. That's really crazy. Wow. Some people live like this. Mm-mm. Did you ever, like, I don't think I snore like that, but every once in a while, like, I'll wake myself up. Like, if I'm like, hot, like, if I have a cold or if it's like really dry, I don't know. But every once in a while, I'll like snort and wake myself up. Does anybody else ever do that? And you're surprised. You're like, what? Who did it? And there's nobody with you. You're just like, what? Did you ever do that? Mm-hmm. It is me. I am the problem. I am the snorer. Mm-hmm. That is really funny. Nobody sleeps in the same building as me if I don't have my sleep apnea machine. Wow. What a day. What a way to start. My in-laws have separate bedrooms because he snores really bad. And I do wake up myself. Yeah, I have indeed done that. Mm-hmm. And this is why I have my own room on an OFM trip. Oh, Kathy, people be talking about that. Did you hear Kathy? Did you hear Kathy last night? She don't want to be talked about. Mm-hmm. I scare myself when I snore. It is the funniest thing. I can hear my husband snoring outside of the house. Oh my gosh. That is really funny. I can't. Morning, Danielle. Oh my gosh. Kyle, that was so funny. So funny. So good morning. I have been kicked out of bed for burping in my sleep. But why would you be? Who burps in their sleep? Why would you do that? Get out. My husband snores so loudly, my next door neighbors asked me what the noise was. What? That is so crazy. When my daughter was really young, my dad fell asleep on the couch in the other room and she stopped and said, "Grandpa's sleeping. Can you hear it?" Yes. Dole paps in Mikasa. Doling paps? CPAPs? Do you want to tell everybody about the journey we're on for you? Come here. Come tell everybody what's going on. I have woken myself up with a fart. Anybody else? Lauren, I don't know how many people are going to own that. Yeah, Jeremy burps directly into my face. I've never, I don't know. People fart in their sleep. Why wouldn't we burp? I don't know. I've never woken up burping. What is he eating before bed? Let me put it this way. If that was on the table, Missy, I would be so rude. I'd be like, well, what are you eating and what time? Because we can't have this tonight. Yeah. Mm-hmm. My daughter's 5, snore like a man. Adenoids gone, never snored again. Dean was like that. Dean used to snore. He used to be like that. And it used to scare the crap out of me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Suddenly, sleeping alone seems a little bit okay, said Judy. I don't know. And you know what's so funny is remember like the first time you meet somebody, you're like, oh, I just want to be in your arms for the rest of my life, and we'll just go to sleep, and it's just gonna be heaven or something. And then like, not a very long time after, you're like, get your dumb face out of my face. I have to sleep. And you're like a monster because you haven't slept. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'd rather fart than be dead. No, and that should be a bumper sticker. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I told everyone how loud my husband snored. They didn't believe me. Then the guy went on a guy's trip, and they all apologized to me. Mm-hmm. My father-in-law sleeps so loud you can hear him through 2 closed doors and music. I've only snore when I'm drinking a lot, so all the time. Tanya, okay. Mm-hmm. It was one of the best aspects of my divorce. Uh-huh. I am not the least bit sweet when he does it. I married Shrek. Oh. My granddaughter farted in her sleep and went to tell mommy and daddy. I mean, you got to do. One time before I had machine, I was sleeping in the same room as my parents, and my mom didn't get any sleep. Said she was pretty sure I was going to die since I quit breathing so much. Yeah. Mm-hmm. My husband also rarely makes it upstairs to bed. So when he does, I can't sleep. If I lay on my back, I'll snore. So my husband will pull me to him, and roll me on my side. Jen, and we won't tell him. That's so funny. It is, Joyce. That is really funny. Anyway, good morning. Good morning. If you were following yesterday's show, you might know that Booby is on an allergy journey. Come here, Boob. Come here. Tell everybody. Come here. I want to show everybody your face. Come here. I want to show you something. Come here. Come here. I want to know if your dogs have this. Now, this might be specific to boxers. But if you've been following our journey with Ruby, then you might know. Come here. Come here. Oh, good babies. You might know that she likes to eat her feet like a chicken wing. A lot of people say, why do you say chicken wing? Okay. Why do you say chicken wing all the time? And I say, because she eats her feet so much that it looks like she's just trying to eat chicken wings. So hold on. Bring her a little closer. So we just started. She's never on the show. We just started on a journey, and that journey. What does she look like? She was out drinking last night. And she's like, anyway, I was like, all right, this scratching that she does all the time. We've got to figure out what's causing it because it's just nonstop. So I got her this new ProPlan sensitive stomach and skin food. And we are trying to now do half that food, half her other food. So we'll do that for 3 days. So we just finished day 1. So we're going to do that. Then we also got her some probiotics. So she's going to be taking these pills. Or she had their chewies that she likes. She's like, I don't even want to tell these people about my private affairs. But I wanted to show you her face, which we rarely see, because she has got this pink right here on her nose. And I always thought that is her face. But now that we're talking about this, hey, look this way. Hey. Now that we've been talking about her allergies, that pink in her face changes. And I thought it would like change based on like how nervous she was for the day. But I'm starting to think that this pink in her face is actually an allergic reaction to food. She's like, HIPAA, where are HIPAA rules? These are sensitive health information that you're giving away. So anyway, so we're going to be monitoring her face. Okay. All right. I know I'm going to talk to her vet about giving her some Zyrtec too, but I'm going to start with the medicine and these probiotics. Booby. She does not like public speaking. Booby. There we go. So I just wanted to share it in case anybody else has a dog that's just constantly itching, because we're going to see if the pink in her face goes away in about a week. So she's got 2 more days of trying to transition her meds. Right, Boob? Okay. She's like, I'm going to file a complaint with my team. Has the vet ever mentioned the pink hair? No, the vet hasn't. Ask the vet about a shot. We got instead of giving Aquapel because the side effects scared me. Yeah. Somebody said they give their dogs human Zyrtec. So we'll see. Is her chest a little pink? Yeah, her chest will get pink too. Not as bad as her face will right here. She's already filing a complaint with HR about about sharing her sensitive health information with the world. But I think that because when Colby was here, I was just so concerned about Colby's health, which was everything, that now we're like, oh, this dog. My dog has horrible allergies. And I give him limited ingredient food. Yeah. So we'll say, what? Cytopoint is the shot you give your dog. I just look back at the bill. It's $150, but it's once a year for us. Oh my gosh. So yeah. So this is what happens. I have to say that now that all the kids have graduated and moved on, these dogs are living their best life. Lulu, no. So 5 days of radiation treatment, said Karen Butler. Good morning, OFM family and Dina. Thank you all for your love and encouragement. Let's get a round of applause for Karen. Her final 4 days of radiation, and we've been following her journey for a while. So I'm super excited for you, Karen, and it was great to see your video the other day. And I'm so glad. Last 4, we're counting it down. You and Ruby's medicine. So we're basically on the same track. So the vet said no chicken or peas for dogs with allergies. Yeah. I have a friend who's a boxer and he has a pink snout too. Huh, maybe it doesn't mean anything, but if she stops scratching, I'll be really happy. So, anywho, so hopefully everybody has had a great start to the week. Yesterday, if you didn't get the newsletter, you might have missed that we put out the information for our trip to Quebec coming up. Those tickets will go on sale tonight during Tipsy Tuesday, and I believe we're going to open it to supporters an hour early. So if you're interested, stay tuned to that supporter page. We also announced that we're launching some classes and an online open mic. Is going to be starting. You can find information about both of those on the website, OneFunnyMother.com. And we're super excited about it as a comedian, as a woman, as somebody that believes that we should have better spaces for women to practice. We're going to try this open mic. It'll be weekly and hosted by myself and Jacqueline. And it is not a comedy open mic. So you can come and you could do stand-up, you could read poetry, you dudes are welcome for sure. You could do spoken word if you are a writer and you'd like to read an excerpt from something that you've written. I feel like it's just really important to be practicing public speaking, and there are not lots of places to do that. So we'll be offering classes for people who want to have more of like a group experience. And then the open mic is every Wednesday starting at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Judy, it's usually an hour before, so probably 8 o'clock on the supporter page. It does say the trip is sold out. It'll just say that until we go on sale, which will be tonight. So it is not sold out. Hasn't actually gone on sale yet. So details about all of that is coming. So hopefully you have some plans. I get nervous just thinking about speaking in front of others. Yeah, it's very nerve-wracking. And I think that, I was saying last night to the supporter page that I started becoming a real proponent for women to practice speaking because as a comic, obviously I'm in front of people all the time, but then I started hosting corporate conferences and I started noticing that most of the time I was on stage, I was the only woman on stage. And I kept looking around. I was like, I don't understand. Like, I thought we were making strides. And then yet I look around and I don't see any ladies. And even in organizations that were predominantly women, there were still mainly men on the stage. And I think it's really important that we practice and that we talk about how important it is. You can't expect to go up and be great the first time you do something. So I think it'll be really fun. So even if you're not the person that's going to go up on stage, maybe you want to join us and just come and be entertained because I think it'll be really fun to watch, to see what everybody comes up with. So if you really want to speak like a Quebecer, you pronounce it Quebec. like Quebec, not Quebec, Quebec. I couldn't even do a reading at my grandmother's funeral because I got so anxious. Yep. No, that makes sense. I feel the same way. Is it Kesnel? Oh my gosh, Pat. Yeah. If you didn't get the email for the newsletter, make sure you check your spam. When I have to speak in groups, my face gets flushed, my eyes water, and I'm so nervous. Yeah, Bobby, you just described what happens to everybody. And I think that the really important thing about practicing public speaking, going to open mic, listen, you can get up and you can just tell us what you did today. Tell us what you made for dinner. It really doesn't matter. It's just getting on stage and getting your body get used to you talking so that, eventually you'll stop having all those reactions that you have when you're nervous. You'll stop getting dry mouth. You'll stop forgetting what you're going to say. Like eventually your body will calm down, but that's only if you actually practice it. So we'll see. Anyway. All right. Well, listen, you guys, I know I would like to believe you're all here for me, but let's be honest. You're not. You're like, I could see your dumb face every day, Dina. We are here for our very special guest today. You may know him. He is once and forever known as a Brady. Christopher Knight met life as a child actor, starring as Peter Brady in the beloved TV classic, The Brady Bunch. The reluctant icon Christopher focuses early adulthood on pursuits beyond the entertainment industry. His interest in science and technology led to a 25-year career as a computer industry executive before a path led him back to the entertainment industry. Over the last 2 days, Christopher appeared on hit shows That 70s Show, Blue Collar TV, Dragging the Classics, and hosted Trivial Pursuit, America Plays. He's also been seen on HGTV's A Very Brady Renovation, one of the most watched cable TV programs of all time. And Christopher and his Brady brothers were unmasked on the hit show The Masked Singer. Christopher recently teamed up with his Brady brother, Barry Williams, for the Real Brady Brothers podcast, a weekly episodic recap and retrospective dialogue on their classic episodes. With the aim of blending his entrepreneurial interests and his artistic roots came the notion of Christopher Knight as a brand, and Christopher Knight Home was born. Christopher's line of home decor skyrocketed to success, landing in the homes of millions. And if you're looking for home decor inspiration this weekend, you can catch out Christopher at the Philadelphia Home and Garden Show on Saturday and Sunday, and use the exclusive OFM code for 50% off tickets so you don't want to miss it. So please help me welcome to the show, Christopher Knight. Hey, Christopher.
Good morning, Dina.
Good morning. Thank you for getting up so early.
It's early. Those are windows behind me, and there's no light coming through them. It's early out here.
Well, thank you so much for getting up so early for us today. We really appreciate it. You have so many fans here, which I'm sure you hear all the time.
I am part of the greater American family. So, yeah, I'm everyone's brother.
Yeah.
I'm used to it.
For sure. Now, do you come out to Philly side very often, or is this your
No, I've only been to Philly half a dozen times in my entire life. So it's I guess I'm coming back at the season where I'm not going to see a whole lot. I'm going to be indoors quite a bit. But I'm realizing I need to get to Philly, when the weather's better so that I can tour around. I'll not only be in Philly this coming weekend, but the following weekend I'll be in Harrisburg. And I've never been to the Hershey, and I've always wanted to do it, but it's just not going to allow for it. And, crawling around outside this time of year is, what is the weather like back there now?
It's not horrible. It's definitely going to be cold this week. But
well, wait a second. What is not horrible?
Okay, yeah, no, good question. Good question.
It's not horrible. But I live in California, so my idea of what horrible is.
Yeah, it might be horrible. It might, now that you're saying it retrospectively, it might be horrible. No, it's in its teens right now, so that's cold for us. But I think by the time you get here this weekend, it's supposed to be back up to like 30s or 40s. So that would be good.
That's literally freezing.
That's
Okay.
good for you.
Let's see, for I guess you back there, that's like, we
Summer.
can wear shorts.
Yes. Yeah, not really. It's just, listen, we're good at like 30s and 40s. Once it goes down to the teens, we're like, we'll stay inside. Let's just stay inside. But I mean, we have people that watch the show from all over the country, and somebody was just saying it was like -61 where they were. I was like, I don't even know what that number is. I don't even know what like, I think we have it cold, and then you hear people in the Midwest, and it's just insane. So
The high plains, it's like Fargo.
yeah, it is. It is.
Like,
yeah.
A new kind of cold.
But here's the thing, where you're going to be for this home show, you're not far from the market. There's a food market there where you can get the best food in the world. And then, have you had a Philly cheesesteak? You had to have.
I have.
Yes. Okay. And the art museum, if you can fit it in, it's.
I'm all about doing what the locals do. So
yeah.
When in Rome.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And so is the thing in Harrisburg, is that also home show? Is that?
It's another home show. Yeah. It's just I guess, it's funny. I'm going to ask you this question.
Okay.
Where are you based at?
I'm in Philly. Well,
You're in Philly. So you're the perfect person to ask this.
Okay.
I got a script, and on it was written PA.
Okay.
In Philly, it's called, I'm not Philly. In Harrisburg, it's called the PA Convention Center, Expo Center or something, or the PA Home Show. And I wasn't sure if that is how I'm supposed to read it, or if it was just an abbreviation of Pennsylvania.
Okay, so here's the thing. So I just moved here. I'm a Jersey girl, so if you had any Jersey questions, I could really help you. But I just moved here, and somebody was like, "No, you say PA." But not everybody said. Like, if you're in Philly, you say Philly. Maybe outside of Philly, you say PA. I don't know, but
Philly's Philly.
Philly's Philly.
But Pennsylvania, PA. I wasn't sure if they wrote PA because I'm supposed to read PA. Or if it was like an abbreviation for Pennsylvania, and is it appropriate to call Pennsylvania PA? And I guess
you can, but I would say Pennsylvania. I would say that. Yeah.
I mean, it's like people in California would never say Cali.
Oh, really?
No, like it's SoCal. If we're down in Southern California, it's Bay Area or NorCal or NoCal, but it's never Cali when you're inside of California.
Really?
Like you never say Frisco for San Francisco.
Oh, yeah, we don't ever say that.
And I don't know why we have those rules. I didn't make them up. I was just born into them.
So I was working at a club years ago, and there was a guy, one of the other comics was from California. And I said, "Where are you from in California?" He's like, "I'm from the Valley." And now that doesn't mean anything to me. I'm like, I said, what does that mean? He goes, "Oh, a valley. It's an area between." Okay. I know what a valley is. I just don't know where. You know what? I'm done talking to you because you just explained a valley. I know what a valley is, but it is. Everybody kind of has their little words for areas, and you're like, yeah, everybody knows that. But.
Well, for those of us raised in the valley, it might come as a shock to many to realize there's other valleys. So, but we also call our freeways you take the 405 to get to the valley. It's a valley, and in LA, it's not even the only valley. There's another valley they don't call the valley.
Yeah, no.
San Fernando Valley is the valley. I don't know why it's the valley. Another rule that I just assumed. But the San Gabriel Valley, just as important to the whole of Los Angeles, and it's not referred to as the valley.
No.
Yeah.
Now, have you lived there your whole life? Like, I know that because I don't think many people know what happened to you. So you had this amazing experience.
Yeah, what did happen?
And then you had this 25-year experience in tech, and then you came back. But like, have you lived in California that whole time, or were you moving? Like, how does this journey look?
I wasn't born in California. I was born in New York City. My parents are both New Yorkers, Brooklyn and Queens. I was born in Manhattan, but we left when I was 2. And that was a long, long time ago. Yeah. And then raised in the Valley. When I went into high tech, I ended up living in Northern California, in the Bay Area. For just a short period. I would commute. That's where the job was based. Most of my high tech career was based in Silicon Valley. And I'd commute on a Monday, come back on a Thursday. Mm-hmm. And I got used to that because I grew up driving the freeways of LA,
Mm-hmm.
having not necessarily driving myself, being in the car constantly. So I've had my fill of being stuck in traffic.
Mm-hmm.
It was easier to get on a plane and fly to Northern California and get off the plane for a short drive there than it was to just drive into work here.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, it took an hour and a half, maybe a little longer, but I only had to do it twice,
Yeah.
once a week, there and back. So
Yeah.
did that for a long time.
Long time. And so at some point you have this like really different experience than your experience growing up. Like what brings you back to entertainment? What was the thing? I think that there's kind of always a pull for people when they are artists on the inside. How long were you able to ignore that? And what was the thing that said, I'm going back?
It's interesting. I don't know if I was born an artist.
Really?
My father, interestingly, was studying architecture when he discovered the boards, the theater. He was an architectural student at Catholic University, where the first year architectural students had to build the sets.
Mm-hmm.
And it was his first introduction, though he grew up in Brooklyn, not too far from Broadway. It wasn't his thing, his jam wasn't Broadway, until he went to college and he discovered that the actors on stage got all this attention. Attention he thought he should have.
Mm-hmm.
So he switched and became an actor, majored in theater arts. And so even for him, his artistic, for many of us that are in the arts, looking at it holistically, it's an escape to be in the arts, and it's a luxury to be able to pursue the arts, because they're not always the best marketplace for a functional life. I mean, just say a life of abundance. It's not. I call it. It's not accountable. At the pocketbook level.
Yeah, well, because it's this constantly, and hard to explain that to people. Like you can have a great year, and then you can have like, I don't know how we're going to eat, and then you have throw some kids in there in college. Like I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah, part of your survival skills that you exercise all the time as an actor are life passages for other people. Literally, the job ended, and I had to go look for another job. Mm-hmm. For most people, it's like, gosh, that's the worst passage, in any period of time, is to find out you've lost your job. I mean, you weren't expecting it in most cases if you're fired, obviously. And then what do? And you have to pick yourself up. But an actor's built with that. That's built in. The job's going to end, and you have to find another job. So you have different skills. And what I'm saying, though, is the arts. If you were born as a child looking to pursue the arts, there's thinking that you have the ability to pursue the arts, it's probably because you're well taken care of. Either that, or you're really in need of some escape and just have to do it. And I mean, for some, it's maybe the only way out for them is to exercise the talent that was born in. But for many of us who might have something like that in us, but we never really had a chance to explore it, because our course in life, as we assumed it from our parents, was to do something practical.
Yeah.
Right? Something accountable. Not that my dad did, because he was an actor and unemployed the whole time. So he was the reason I ended up becoming an actor, because he got us an agent. Literally, his family was from Europe. So he's just the first generation born in America in my family. And he still maintained some of those old world sentiments and ideas, like you put your kids to work to support the family.
Yeah.
Like we're like living on a farm and it's time to go till the soil. You got to go out and get a job, kid. And at 8, I was, with an agent. My brother was at 9, and we were, on the freeways.
How old were you when you got the job as Peter Brady?
10.
Wow.
10. I was about a year and a half into my career at that point. which really hadn't had at that point much speaking, because I had a hard time speaking. I was listening to your show before I came on, and speaking was difficult for me. Not necessarily in front of an audience, but just speaking. It was difficult to put the ideas together in a sentence, because I didn't realize it for years, but I'd have dyslexia and ADD, and like the sentence wanted to come out inside out, upside down, and almost as though instead of one word at a time, it all wanted to come out at one time, you know? So if I had an idea, the hardest thing to do with that idea was express it.
Well, it's so funny you say that, because I was talking about this last night, that we had a bunch of, so this program, we originally started with high school students, because I was finding that I was, going to these conferences, I'm not seeing a lot of women on stage. And I was like, if we don't change things and start getting younger women learning how to do this, nothing will change in 30 years. There still won't be representation. And I was finding that students that came from theater, in many ways, were fearless. They could go up and they could read, do a monologue or read an excerpt. But if you ask them to just go up and talk, they completely froze. Was it the same for you? Like, even though you as a person would have problems getting words out, if somebody gave you a script, was that easier for you to deliver?
Interesting. No, it wasn't. Harder.
Really?
There's something about the nerves when you're performing. It doesn't make much sense now that I'm thinking about it. The best format for me, which I'll be using as we do the home show, is I'm doing a presentation, which frankly takes a whole lot of work to prepare. And there's reasons for me that preparation is endless and, well, never ending, actually.
Yeah.
It is endless, which I'll explain in a bit. Given a script, you have to follow that script. And there's some anxiety that comes with that, and the necessary preparation for that. So to do that requires a whole lot of preparation before you're going to be comfortable going out there. Doing just a question and answer is very easy for me.
Yeah.
Because that's self. And even in class, I like to sit in the front of the class. I listen to everything. Couldn't take notes worth a damn. I mean, still can't. I can't do two things at once, like take a note and listen to what's going on. It's impossible for me. So I just remember everything. I just sort of remember it by rote. But sometimes I'll have a question as growing up and in class, but I was really reluctant to raise my hand, because once I got called on, it's like getting the question out in the right order, because I felt like it wasn't, I need more time. I need more time to express myself. And in a place with a lot of, under the gun kind of pressure, then I fail. Yeah. But if it's, the luxury is when it's about me or it's a question to me, only I can, then it's a luxury. And I have no problem being out there.
Do you think that the whole experience then, and that practice, or that constantly being challenged with that, with your scripts, do you think that helped you over the course?
Absolutely. I've got to explore parts of myself that bettered me accidentally. I mean, I wouldn't have pursued acting unless my dad was an actor and I got into it. But it helped open up parts of self that wouldn't have ever been explored.
Yeah.
I'm introverted. My mom, I have an older brother, 14 months older. He was more extroverted. He was, the firstborn. That comes with some privileges I'd come to learn. And he was supposed to be the one that worked. And my mom's eye.
Wow.
Because he was it made sense to her. Chris can't get a sentence out. So how the hell is he going to work?
That's really funny.
She admitted to me quite a bit later in life that she was really surprised. He never worked and I worked.
Wow.
And she never went in the room where the interview occurred. And my brother and I didn't go in the room at the same time. The one kid after another, but we were so close in age, we would be up for the same role. So I had no idea what he did in that room. I couldn't even remember what I did in that room. but whatever I did worked, and whatever he did didn't.
Yeah.
For that period of time. And eventually he, after 2 years decided he didn't want to, get in the car anymore and go on interviews because there was no real payoff for him. And it was a question my mom never had the answer to as to why that was. And in any case, though, the luxury of being an artist when you grow up, to pursue it wasn't a practical. I saw the struggle that my father, I wanted a different world. I mean, I noted it very early that actors are some of the most well-educated, well-spoken, homeless people on the planet. And homeless by choice. It's like you had to be prepared to live a vagabond's life.
Yeah.
I am a rooted person. I like having a home, and I want that predictability.
Yeah.
So if I want that predictability, kind of, picking the arts as a means to that end, wasn't practical for me.
Yeah.
I stumbled into it and it worked out for me. But when I got into my 20s and really had to decide what I was going to do for the rest of my life, I was always apprehensive about acting as a career path because it wasn't accountable. So I wanted to go do something where in life to exercise those other things I was born with.
Well, I was going to say, you clearly must have had a knack for technology and all of these things. So like when you move over to this, I mean, a big part of this has to be that everybody recognizes you, right? Like, did that become a big part of what you did for these 25 years? Was it always kind of coming up outside of your company? Like, how does that go? And does it ever annoy you if people
I was wondering, how that was going to play. And it ended up, in retrospect, playing quite well. But I had learned earlier, I started this Brady thing and it hit like wildfire when I was between 6th and 7th grade. And out here, junior high started in 7th grade. So I was in a new school. The Brady Bunch comes on, and, for the first 20 weeks of the school year, we're working. So we're in front of we're having school on set. And then the second half of the year, the 20-week break, we'd be done, and I'd go back into my school. First year, though, that wasn't my school. I was in a new school with new kids. And I remember that all kids going from 6th grade to 7th grade, or going from elementary school into junior high school, is a monumental step.
Yeah.
Right? And the kids that are already there tell you horror stories about the word was scrub and how you're going to, it's the kind of lore that only, cruel lore that kids can play on one another. None of it was really as bad as it was painted.
Yeah.
But they wanted to make sure that you worried about it just as much as they had. But I truly now had this other thing I was carrying around that I didn't have a preparation for. I didn't know what being on television and being recognizable was going to do to others and their view of me. Like, how could they know me? They haven't met me, but they've seen me on television, so there's an assumption. I had to get used to all of that, and in front of a whole world of new people, at a very young age. And I learned that I had a natural tendency not to want to be not necessarily in front of people. I was a reluctant subject to be nominated to lead and or to aspire to. And I recognized early too that people don't want you to demand their attention and to anticipate that you should be their leader or somebody that they should look up to. If they give you that attention, turn it down. Literally, it's the feet of clay. If people are putting you up on a mantle, get off of it. Don't believe you belong there, because the only one thing that can happen is you're going to be knocked off the mantle. So get off and be yourself gracefully. And the more you do that, the more you're them.
Yeah.
The more you're them, there's less separation, and there's an assumption that you are part of their family, their world.
Yeah.
So having that as just an instinct that worked well from childhood, when I went into the business world and realize now people are going to recognize me. I guess some of those experiences played out because I go, well, how am I going to play this? They're going to wonder, what are you doing knocking on my door? I recognize you.
Yeah.
It became that this Brady thing, because it's not like I have like, like I robbed a bank or something. It was the Brady's has always brought a smile to people.
Yeah.
And there's a feeling of brotherhood or family associated with that.
Well, because at the time there was less television. We all watched these shows. There was nothing else to watch. Here's a weird question. I don't know. I hope it doesn't offend you, but in my generation, you're my generation, right? So anytime anybody around our age, and I would say for another probably 15 to 20 years, knows you, right? As soon as you see your face, you're like, oh my gosh, it's Peter Brady. And I know him. I like him. This whole thing, right? These great memories, nostalgia. But I mentioned to my kids, I am going to have the guy on the play Peter Brady. They're like, who's that? And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, is there some part of you that likes maybe being out and not being recognized from a generation that doesn't really know the impact? Like, is there some part of that as time passes that you're like, well, that's kind of cool. Like, you just get to know me as just like a guy that's doing my thing. Is that a thing?
I led my entire life looking forward to not being recognized. And now that that's part of the world, I'm realizing that, it's not like I miss it, but it's like, wow, be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, it's not that special. Not that special.
Just another boomer. Just another old guy. It's weird. I mean, do you feel the same way I do in this age?
Probably.
That when we grew up, the world was built for people 45 to 65 or 75. It was built for.
Oh yeah.
It was built for your elders. It was built for the people that were running things.
No.
It's no longer. It's built for 20 to 40.
Yeah.
I mean, all the advertising, the programming, it's all, seemingly not built, unless I'm losing perspective here. It's not the same as it was when we were kids.
I got to tell you, so you have beautiful salt and pepper hair, right? Now, I don't know.
Is that what that is?
You didn't know me a year ago, but I was dyeing my hair and I have recently let it go. So my silver, I like to call it my silver, is coming in.
It's great.
The crazy thing is, Christopher, all the golden, so I'm 52. The Golden Girls were in their 50s. And so when you think about when we were younger, if you were watching the Golden, you're like, they're so old, they're about to die, and they all got together because this is the end of days. And now I look at people in their 50s and I'm like, we look kind of really good.
Like, I mean, the teachers that taught us, let's just say from grade school, might have been 40, but in my view, that they were 150. I mean, they were totally gray, and not trying to appear to be younger.
Yeah.
I mean, there must have been a drive to look older because there doesn't seem to be any energy being spent to try to look younger. Because they weren't, when you think about it, a 40-year-old looked so much older back, in the day. In my days, a half a generation even older than you. So, I mean, you're not even a baby boomer. You're
no. Am I X? I don't know.
You're an X. You're an X. Yeah. And I'm like dead center, kind of baby boom.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I also like, not being observed. There's an advantage to being, in the weeds and watching. And I'm an observer more than, well, I guess the whole thing that worked for me, going into into another business was I'm just curious. That's my one suit. My one talent is just curiosity.
It seems to have landed you in so many different places. So you have the home show, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But I was listening today about the podcast with you and Barry, who played Greg Brady. Tell us about that. How long has that been going on? What was kind of the impetus for that?
I have a lot of ideas. I'm getting better at expressing them. It takes a long time to get them out. And that was the thing that they didn't realize. They said, you should do a podcast. I go, what's a podcast going to be about? Anything, And we started that, and it turned out that my anything was a rambling mess of everything. So it was about nothing. And then the producer said, there's a format of podcast called episodic recap that's catching fire.
Mm-hmm.
And explained to me what episodic recap was. And I'm going, I knew where he was going with this, and I didn't want to have to do a podcast about the Brady Bunch. I go, I'm not that guy. I know who that guy is.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really want to do something like that, it could be interesting because I haven't seen these shows in 50 years.
Mm.
At the same time, we had just done the renovation, and the renovation, a Very Brady Renovation on HGTV, made clear that we, the cast, and our audience were at a disconnect. Literally, people lost track. They knew, I think, in the back of their mind that we were actors working on the set, but over time had lost track of us not really being family, and seeing the house, which was one touch point which they could, America could drive past. Here in Los Angeles, the house that was the establishing shot exists in Studio City neighborhood. That became the Brady's house. That's where we grew up.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for us, clearly we didn't.
Yeah.
And nothing to do with us. We didn't even know. I didn't know where that house existed.
Wow.
I lived a half a mile from it for 10 years and had no idea. Not only didn't I have an idea where it was, I didn't even think to ask where it might be. Sherwood was still alive then. Lloyd is still around today. I could have easily asked them at any point.
Right.
What's interesting, I didn't ask or find out until mid-90s where that house was.
That's really
we were on air 69 to 74. So this is, 20 years after the show is, 20 years after it started syndication, that I'm finding out where this house was, finding out that people are driving by it a lot. But I wasn't the only one. In doing the renovation, we were all together, and it seems to a person, none of us thought to ask where that house was.
But you're so young too, right? I mean,
and there was no internet to go where you look on Google. You just have to type in Brady House, and it'll show you where it's at. So it's become functionally the Bradys. This is where the Bradys lived. So I realized that point that we had lost. We never really watched the show. Our experience was the other direction, being there. And I thought it'd be interesting to watch the show to see what it is that our audience has been watching for 50 years that we've lost touch with.
Yeah.
So if we do this podcast, this is what it should be about, and it has been. And literally we're up to we've done 116 episodes. We've done episodic recaps of 116 episodes. We have one more to do.
Wow.
And it is the pilot. So there's a few more being run, but we have yet to record the pilot. That'll be within the next month when I get back from Pennsylvania. And it's been an honor and a privilege to be able to go back and look at it and have fun with it and recognize its strengths the way that our audience has. Now, of course, they've watched it a couple hundred times so that they know
all of it. Yeah.
The plots in and out. And it's weird when you're an actor and you're on a show, though. People out there might think that we're the experts in it. It's like we had a little section to do and probably ignored the rest of it, and only having watched it once, really focused on your own performance.
Yeah. Not
really watching it. I don't watch anything I do. I can't watch self. It's a problem. I'm not a consumer of my own.
Well, I love just the conversation between you and Barry is just really funny. Like your connection and how you talk to each other. It really does feel like you grew up as brothers. Is that kind of how you feel about it?
Well, look, I've known Barry now almost 60 years. So
wow.
Literally, I have my own brother and sister alive. Other than them, those that I've known the longest on this planet are my Brady brethren. Yeah. So, and we are like a real family in that we've had a similar upbringing and experiences and are completely different people.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Now, I know so many people that are here watching and that were so excited that you were here. For many people, you were like everyone's childhood crush. You were like, oh my gosh, he's adorable. So my question to you is, when you were growing up, like, who was your childhood crush? If everybody's watching you and is like, oh my gosh, he's adorable. Like, did you have like in that era growing up, like who were you like, oh my gosh, she's so pretty?
Well, I think girls have crushes earlier than boys.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I laugh at it now, but you know, Eve had a crush on me for years, but could never. I was just not interested because I wasn't really aware of women crushing on women until after that. And then by then, so it was older, you know, I mean, I'm a little bit older and my crushes were like, you know, my Raquel Welch would have been one that was early before I knew that was a crush. And then there's Cheryl Ladd and, you know, Farrah Fawcett and then everybody. I mean, everybody's a crush that was on television. I mean, you know, the television and the big screen have always been a wonderful place presenting beauty in a way that we'll all find attractive. So, yeah, no, I it's funny. I don't have favorites. People ask me, what's your favorite food? I go, what I'm eating right now. You know, it's like I like everything. So it's like, you know, that's my career too. I mean, it's like literally build a picture for myself. It's like, you know, I'm the leaf on the stream. I am going to go where it's going.
Just floating away. So tell me about the production company, because I saw the video that you had done. Because I know you're saying you're a creature of learning and all of these things. How does this production company come together?
A friend of mine, Phil Viardo, who's like my brother from another mother, is a producer himself at another production company and looking to go out on his own. We have a good rapport. And he turned to me one day and said, you want to start a production company? And I thought about it. I go, you know, it's funny. I started businesses, but I haven't started a business in the business that I grew up in. So though I know an awful lot about this business, I don't know, you know, the ins and outs of bringing a production to life or breathing life into a production. So with him and starting this production company, we have been making, you know, we're taking small steps, making headway in doing just that. We had our first production, True Love, the film about Williams syndrome, and our star, Callie Truelove, which is truly her name, who suffers from Williams syndrome or experiences Williams syndrome. She will tell you that it's her superpower as opposed to having anything wrong with her. But it is an affliction that more people, you know, should know about. 1 out of 10,000 people have it. And it was a wonderfully uplifting experience doing that. And it was my first experience producing and also doing a documentary, which is a whole different beast. A documentary is really, well, for the curious, it's just that, you know, you kind of have an idea of what you're trying to accomplish, and then it takes life. And then it goes where it goes. Right.
Yeah.
So you know, you don't get to pound it to, you know, into pate because you have this idea of what you need to have, and you struggle, you know, to produce it. You let the documentary unfold. Yeah. But we're hoping to do, you know, more. It's a difficult time in the entertainment business, in that the economy of our industry is changing rapidly. So there's shifting sands at the base of the industry that makes it kind of hard to, you know, because all of it takes money.
Yeah,
finding those that are, you know, that are willing to spend is more difficult.
Yeah.
Getting ideas out there from a new production company are a little slower than we had hoped for, but making headway. And it's a terrifying experience.
Well, everything that's new, I feel like, is terrifying in some way. And I'm like you. I feel like you just have to put things in the universe, and the world will tell you what it likes and doesn't like, and you have to figure that out. So, if someone asked about the podcast, Michelle put links to it. It is the Real Brady Brothers podcast is where you can find that. And if they wanted to see that trailer or the video, where would they go to see that, Christopher?
The trailer or video on
the one that you just said about Williams syndrome.
True Love the Film is on. It's anywhere you can stream. So there's advertiser supported YouTube. It's True Love the Film. You can either watch it with commercials for free, or you can pay for if that's your way of consuming. YouTube as well, Amazon. Just, the way I do it, just Google True Love the Film and find out where it's playing.
And so let's get to the real reason that you're coming to Philly is this whole other thing. You have so many things we could talk about. Is the home show coming up? So how does that happen? So you come from tech, you've got this entertainment company, the podcast. When did all of furnishing start, Christopher Night Home?
13 years ago, and I wish I could claim it as my idea. It wasn't. It was a friend of mine in business who I know from high school, but also he went into high tech and was the reason I got into high tech way back in the day. I laughed when I heard that he was dabbling in the furniture industry. I thought he was a physicist before being in high tech, so he's had a similar arc to mine in that it's ever changing. But I kind of chuckled when I heard now he was in the furniture industry. It just seems so prosaic, from being a physicist and a high tech entrepreneur. Now you're building, practical, art, furnishings. And then he came to me with an idea about a brand. And I thought, I think, I had no idea that it would work. But I said, well, let's give it a shot. I mean, what the hell? And it worked out amazingly and continues to grow. So it's Christopher Night Home, and it's a brand only available online. And really in a select number of places. But one of those places is Amazon. So it's not very select. It's everywhere. But the individual who brought me in that had the furniture talent and exposure was himself an importer and manufacturer of furniture, small, from the Valley here in Los Angeles. And he was seeing for himself that the furniture industry was going to move from being just brick and mortar retail into some. I mean, if you look back at the arc of things being sold on the internet, it started with boxes of things that could easily be shipped. Cars, even though they're sold on the internet, still not necessarily there. And you see the trend is the bigger the item, the more difficult the internet is as a platform for its sale. For various reasons. But some of the furniture product, if packaged correctly, could be really effective in selling online. And that's where he was aiming the company, and I came in as a brand on top of that. And part of that was built on the idea that as a face of Brady, you're trustworthy. And I would never do anything to abuse that faith and that trust that people have in this thing that I am graced with or have been gifted. The idea that you are family, and I'm trusted like that, even though people don't know me. It's the weirdest thing in the world. My entire life is meeting people. I don't even know their name, and they're patting me on the back and introducing me to people. Like, this was the advantage when I went into high tech, and I didn't even see it coming, is that though I knocked on the door and they recognized me, I had this whole other life that existed prior, but I was a friend of theirs. Yeah, come on in. I mean, a door that wouldn't open to somebody else in my position was opening. So, but I also realized that I couldn't fail. I couldn't fail them for that trust. In other words, my job was to make certain that if I was selling something, I wasn't really selling. I was consulting with them. I wouldn't sell them something that wasn't good for them, because
Yeah.
they'll remember me a whole lot longer. It's like, again, getting off that mantle. If somebody's worshiping you, don't let them.
Yeah.
The fact is you just need to follow through and be your thing. Better be what you say.
Yeah.
And so, and that was my thing. And so online, same thing, same idea. And it blew up. And Christopher Knight Home is like, a serious brand in the furniture industry.
That's awesome. Well, you can see Christopher on the main stage this Saturday at 11 a.m. and Sunday at 1 p.m. And there is a meet and greet following those presentations. You can use our code. I believe it's OFM. Michelle is putting that code into the chat here as well. But Christopher, thank you so much. This was I can see the sun is rising.
I'm looking behind me now. Yes, the sun is risen.
So you stayed with us through the night and early morning. Thank you so much for spending your time. I hope
you're very welcome.
Some fun things here in Philly, and I hope you get to Hershey, because it does smell fantastic out there. So if you get a chance, go get some yummy chocolates for sure.
I will try.
Come and visit us again anytime. Let us know any other exciting things you have going on. But it was a pleasure having you.
The pleasure was all mine. Thank you very much.
Right. I'll see you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
How fun is he? Oh my gosh, Christopher Knight. And I loved I know, right? Thank you. This was great. Thank you. Somebody wrote pork chops and applesauce. I wasn't going to ask him to say it, but it's my favorite line. But what a great guy. So down to earth. If you are interested in learning more about him, check out the podcast. Check out, it's really a beautiful trailer that I watched this morning about true love, and go see him at the home show. He'll be here in Philadelphia and then in Harrisburg next weekend. So yeah, and let's hear it for sexy producer Michelle for putting all of that together. And thank you all for being here. I know we went a little bit long today, but it was worth it because it was Peter Brady / Christopher Knight. So thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you had a great one, like Judy from Saskatoon, and good time. Andrea say pork chops and applesauce. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys tonight from Juicy Tuesday. And our trip goes on sale, so don't forget. All right, I'll see you. Bye-bye.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed today's morning show, make sure to follow us for more OneFunnyMother content.
Okay, all right. Morse code is tapping.
And check out OneFunnyMotherStore.com for great new inappropriate swag. And for more exclusive content, consider becoming a supporter.
She got a bad leg.
Thanks again, and we'll see you tomorrow on One Funny Morning.